Okay, well, I've cut all the pieces out, as you can see, and I've even started gluing some together. We've skipped a bit. The stage I'm going to show you now is a piece that goes around the back of the helmet. This is the uppermost of the back curve around the helmet. The skull cap basically sits directly on top of this bit with the ears and the eyes just forward center. There is a loop of foam that goes, that one, that goes around the bottom of this piece. It'll not only hold it in shape, but it also makes it look a little thicker. Now, because I want the two pieces to fit flush, I've already tapered this one, there we go, on a 45. Now I've left a little bit of a lip there, so for two reasons. One, I don't actually cut into the facing surface, and because the edges on the helmet are not sharp, precise 90-degree edges, they're rounded off, so that gives me a little more flesh there once I glue these two together to do that. The next stage is now to cut this on a 45-degree camber, run some glue on it, and get ready to glue it all together. So that's what you will be riveted to your monitors watching for the next few seconds. Now I used the box cutter, the craft knife, the whatever you want to term that as, and I have a diamond sharpening board. This one is, what is this? This is from Bunnings, so they're really easy to come across. It's a US product, so I suppose you can get them over there as well. It's called an Easy Lap Diamond, and this one, although you can't see it anymore, see, Easy Lap Diamond, but right here it says super fine, and that's what I use to keep my blades sharp. I know blades are a dime a dozen, but why waste the dough when you don't? Simple investment, I think it was about like 15 bucks. Means I don't have to keep buying blades over and over and over. So as always, the best cuts you're going to get on your foam happen when the blade is nice and sharp. So let's put a bit of an edge back on that, and then I know that I want this to taper to the outside edge, so I'm going to be cutting away from myself, safety first, and to cut a 45 on there. Okay, I'm going to do this in two sweeps. I'm not going to try and make the entire cut on the first one. Now, I do not have a guideline sketched in here, but as this is the third piece that I've done the 45 on, and I'm pretty conscious of the thickness, I know to keep the same width back from the edge, even though I don't have a guideline. All the way around, and that's already taking the edge off of that blade. This foam being more dense than the 5mm stuff that I made the last two helmets from, the Phasma and the Kylo. Being a denser foam, it really sucks that edge right off of this blade. Okay, let's see if we can't get there we go, look at that. Away it comes nicely. I think not only is it the density of the foam, but this inner surface, the heat treating that they do on it, again makes that far denser, and it seems to be the bit that's knocking the edge off, kind of like a tomato skin. The cut through the flesh of the tomato doesn't blunt in your knives all that much, but the tomato's skin is a little less forgiving. Okay, that can go down there in the file, and you could do with a little bit of cleaning up, but now that I've got those two edges, once I glue them together and then roll them in, that's going to give me a rounded edge, more reminiscent of the curved, less precise smelting technique, blacksmithing technique, the helmet's based on. Now, my technique for applying glue. We hear a lot on Bill Duran's videos, Evil Ted's videos, and a few of the other guys that we follow stateside, that they love a product called barge cement. Well, this is Australia, and I haven't seen any barge cement, but I found what I think is a very good alternative here in Oz. I use this stuff here. Just like everything else in cosplay, there's probably other items or other products out there that do just as good or a better job, but this, for the investment, I think it was like 27 bucks for a litre, is brilliant. This lasts forever. It's contact cement, so put it mix, and it goes on pretty much the same way as the guys have been telling us throughout the history of YouTube University. You'll see on Evil Ted's videos he uses a glue pot and a paintbrush, but he also makes comment quite frequently of using scraps of foam to finish up the glue. I use paddle pop sticks. They're cheap, they're disposable, and I can get them pretty much anywhere. Okay. The idea is to apply your glue nice and evenly across the entire level of the surface, paying particular attention to get right out to the edge, so that when you do join these two surfaces together, you're going to get a very good, clean join on the outer edge, and you're only going to get that if there's actually glue there to adhere the two surfaces together. The idea of the paddle pop stick is that I can smooth the glue out as I go and not end up with great gobs of it. I have found, particularly when the glue, the joint is under stress and there is a lot of glue sitting on the surface, pools of it, it doesn't dry, and once you put the two pieces under pressure while shaping them, it lets go, it peels apart. Not the entire joint, but the outer lip, the pristine smooth surface, smooth joint that you're after. Doesn't necessarily happen, so don't have excessive amounts of glue on the surface, don't let it pool up. Okay, so all the way out to that outer edge and no pooling, and that's surface number one. Now I've got the light on the video camera so that there's some shine there so you can see what I mean. I don't have any pools of glue, and it's glued right to the very edge of the surface that's going to be my outside surface. So that's one side. Pop that there. You have to do both surfaces on contact cement, both surfaces that are going to adhere together when using contact cement. Yes, it does give off fumes, but I have the fan blowing across the table at the moment to dissipate the fumes so that I don't have to wear a mask and obscure my voice so you can actually hear me while I'm doing this. Now, let's just do that. That's an example of what I don't like. See the pool of glue there? That's not going to dry properly, so the idea of the paddle pop stick is to allow me to smooth it out nicely. I don't want it down there because that's not a surface I'm gluing on. Same deal as the first half, right out to the very edge of the face. That's going to be our outer edge. And once both surfaces are covered, I set my timer for 10 minutes, either work on another part of the costume or watch Torchwood and Firefly and torture myself with the fact that two really great sci-fi series didn't get the ending they should have got. I mean, yeah, Firefly got a movie called Serenity, and Torchwood was told 3 episodes before they were going to be shut down that they were, so they managed to write a rather touching and poignant finish. But yeah, it's still torture, man. Okay, both surfaces are coated. The good thing about the paddle pop stick is it can also act as a bit of a scraper, much like Evil Ted's foam scrap solution. Okay, there we go. Both surfaces coated. Timer set for 10 minutes. I'll pop back and show you in 10 minutes time what it looks like when I glue those two together. So don't go too far away. Okay, well, the timer's just gone off, and here are our 2 bits. Now, normally what I would be doing would be to shape this with the heat gun at first to try and take some of the curve. But I'm an impatient little git, so to get a really good edge, let me get that out of the way. I'll put the camera well back from the edge of my desk so that you get the whole desk, and now to show you the details I have to lean in a fair bit. So to get a really good edge, I like to run the very lip together and use my thumb to make sure that I'm getting a flush surface. Roll as you go. Now you'll notice there are no registration marks on here a la Evil Ted, because I don't blinking have any, but you see I'm getting a good join there because the glue goes all the way to the very edge of the foam. I'm not getting an open gap yet, and I won't do the full roll and close that in just yet because it's going to make keeping the rest of the lip a little harder to do. So just working away nicely and slowly around the full length, giving a little bit of pressure as you go. There's a little bit of overlap on the glue there, just giving me some build up on this outer edge, but nothing that's an issue considering that this lip is not the finished lip. Would have been nice to mark the halfway because I'm at the halfway on the trim. It's quite easy, unfortunately, to stretch the thinner pieces as you're going because they give you less resistance and therefore end up with an overhang when you get to the end because you've stretched the thin piece. Okay, so now that I've got the purchase, you can see what I mean, that I didn't want a nice sharp 90-degree bend here. I wanted a rounded edge to make it look like that plate metal from the game, which is a rounded. The overall helmet is kind of angular, which I mentioned earlier on, but the finish on it is very rounded and worn, and gives it a softer feel, whereas really sharp angles seem to be a little more aggressive. Give the whole character a different feel. Having this Nordic carved armour, having rounded, duller edges. That's probably the best term, duller edges. We'll keep that in the vocab. Gives that character, or at least the armour, a different feel. Now here I was worrying that I had stretched the thinner piece when in fact I've failed to stretch it correctly to make it fit. So a little bit of extra manipulation required there, but we've got it. See, now that's what I meant by not having the glue all the way to the edge. It opens up, but thankfully, because I do have the glue all the way to the edge, applying some pressure is going to close up the vast majority of those gaps. And then I also have my old standby when I'm doing my final surface. I use Selly's No More Gaps to fill in the gaps. So there we go, that's a pretty good clean edge at the moment. It looks a lot darker than it is because of the black Sharpie that I used to trace around. Leaves a residual of ink there, and it makes those lines pop a bit darker. Good old contact cement does the job. There we go. There's the bottom lip glued all the way around that collar now, and I'll repeat that process for the next few bits. Okay.